Good morning, everyone. My name is Elodia Witterstatter, and I'm the campus principal at Westlawn Elementary. And today I would like to take the opportunity to introduce our next speaker, Miss Liliana Luna, whom I've had the opportunity to work with for the 6 years as assistant principals together. Miss Luna has served as an assistant principal for the past 10 years, and she is currently the assistant principal at Nash Elementary. Today, she will be sharing with you all making the jump into administration. So thank you, Miss Luna.
Thank you so much, Ms. Witterstatter. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to start by saying thank you to NETABSE for having the opportunity to present to you today. I enjoyed Lee's introduction this morning and, encouraging us to be transparent and talk from the heart. So that is my goal today. And when Elodia called me, if I would be willing to present, of course, like Mr. Nelson said, it is a little uneasy. Oh, okay. But in my heart of hearts, my mission in everything I do is to be encouraging. And if there's anything I can do to help anyone else in their journey, that has always been, one of my main purposes in anything that I do. I've had tremendous mentors along the way, several right in this room. Tony Favors has known me for a long, long time. I've worked with Lee, Miss Brown through TISD, and of course, Miss Ingram. And I'll share a little bit more about Miss Ingram in my presentation. But let me start off by just giving you a little background as to how I got where I am today. I have to start and let you know that I am a first generation college graduate. I'm the oldest of 4 children. My parents were immigrants. I consider myself an immigrant as well because I have not always been a US citizen. And that is something that people don't always know. They see me now and think, oh, she's there. Wow, like that's amazing. But the journey, how I got here, is one of a lot of sacrifices for my parents. And so, I'm not originally from Texarkana. I was actually born in Mexico. Most people don't know that. But I immigrated. My parents had been in the United States since they were teenagers. And I was born in Mexico, but brought back to the United States at a very early age of 2 months old. So I did have an American education in the sense because I've always been in the United States. But I actually did not become a US citizen until I was 20 years old. Most people don't know that. If you look in TC's past newspapers, they even did a story when I started my educational journey at Texarkana College, and when I started my citizenship process, they actually had a story on the actual process. Most people don't know how that works or how involved it is. And they even did a little poll where they asked some of the questions that we have to answer in the history side of it, and asked several of the TC students things like, do you know where the Liberty Bell is located? Most people don't know that. I do now. It's in Philadelphia. The 13 original colonies, different things like that. And it was alarming back then, that most Americans didn't know that. But the journey is that I actually became legal in 1985 in the last amnesty of the United States. There has not been another amnesty, another avenue for people like myself, dreamers, those people that have brought over as children and had no choice in the decision, are here, are educated, and now it's, what do we do now? Luckily, my parents took advantage of that opportunity in 85 and they became legal, as did I. And but I always wanted the desire to be able to vote, to if I ever wanted to hold office, I knew I needed to become a US citizen. So at the age of 18, when I could for myself, I started that journey. And thankfully, by the age of 20, I became a US citizen. So that's the beginning of my journey. But my parents sacrificed a lot in all their lives. They always said, we want better for you. As if some of you are parents, grandparents, you always want better for your children. And so that was the little voice that I heard all through my life. I want better for you. Take advantage of living in the United States, having that opportunity to get educated. And so I did. I graduated in 1998 and I started the summer of 1998 at Texarkana College. And I was fortunate enough to have support of my family to be able to enroll. I then went on to Texas A&M Texarkana, and I was able to get a bachelor's in general studies. At the time, I was already married. I married at 20. My husband was 23. And so I knew that I wanted to be a teacher, but I couldn't go the traditional route because a lot of once you're married, you have a mortgage, you have financial responsibilities. And so I said, we're going to do general studies. And I was at the time a instructional leader. I was going in the classrooms for 15 minutes at a time and I was teaching Spanish. I was doing that at Highland Park Elementary and I was doing that at Theron Jones Early Literacy Center. Back then it was 15th Street and the principal was Mrs. Ingram. And I was just an instructional aide finishing up my bachelor's. But then and there, I got a glimpse at what teaching was. Debbie King was a kindergarten teacher at Highland Park at the time who was phenomenal with literacy. And I just remember going in those 15 minutes to teach those babies Spanish, but I was learning myself. I didn't just go in there thinking I'm here to do a job and I'm going to teach them, but I was going in there too. I might go in 2 minutes early and watch Miss King give her reading lesson. And I picked up so much from observing in her classroom of what teaching reading was all about. You talk about literacy. She had words everywhere. She had books everywhere. She read to the kids all the time. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I was learning too. And that's one of the things that as a future leader, in every position you hold, in every committee you sit on, or wherever you are, there is always something to learn. So I realized early on as an instructional aide that that was my opportunity. Being in there as an instructional aide was not just for me to teach, but it was also for me to show my future bosses what I could potentially do. And I feel like Miss Ingram was able to see something in me because at the end of my bachelor's of general studies, she offered me a position to teach at Theron Jones. And that's where my TISD teaching career began at 15th Street as a first grade teacher. And Miss Ingram took a chance with me because I wasn't certified, but we were able to work a 1-year certification program through LaTourneau University with her support and her encouragement. And I learned a lot at my 15th Street Theron Jones years. I worked there 3 years as first grade teacher with a veteran team who I'm still in contact with. Miss Alicia Willis, who retired, Sheila Lockett, who is at the middle school. Well, now she was at the middle school. Now she's at Theron Jones. Bridget Ivory is at a district. She's a member of this alliance. And just, those connections, learning from veterans, respecting people that, have more experience, and being open to, in every situation, every position that you hold, there's always something to learn. So I started there, and I'll tell you, my journey has always been one where I've always wanted options. I've always wanted to be able to have a plan B, a plan C, and always looking for opportunities to grow. So at Theron Jones, when I was there, they opened up an opportunity where if you were wanting to get your master's degree, you could apply. It's an email sent. They had a meeting, and I said, you know what? Let's go for it. If I get more education, that'll open more doors. I wasn't sure at the time what I wanted to do with it, but it was an opportunity that was put out there, and I took advantage. I applied, and thankfully, I was accepted, and I was able to start working on a master's degree. And 3 years later, Morris is being built, being thought of, and they put it out there again. Anyone interested in teaching in the new elementary school, you're going to have a master's degree. informational meeting. Anyone interested, come find out. Took advantage of that opportunity too, went and said, if anything, I'll learn something different. I applied for that opportunity to teach at Morris when it first opened up, and Mr. Sandlin blessed me with the opportunity to be able to go and teach at a school that had never been, designed that way, taught that way with engineering. And I was able to work there 3 years and earn my first master's degree in curriculum and instruction. And then again, another opportunity presents itself. TISD back then was looking at an administrative shortage, basically. And James Henry Russell was the superintendent at the time, and his philosophy was one of grow your own. And so he and TISD decided to have a administrative intern program where they were willing to pay for your master's degree in administrative in the administrative realm. And so anyone wanting to be a principal or any type of administration could apply to be part of that. It's kind of like what we currently have, the Leadership Academy. And so I said, well, let's go ahead and try that. It doesn't hurt. It's another opportunity that's out there. Thankfully, I applied. And I tell you what, it is scary to do things like that. That particular interview was at the boardroom with 9 different high-level administrative people, superintendent, assistant superintendent, chief operating officer, you talk about a challenging interview, but again, it's an opportunity that was presented and an opportunity that I jumped out there and decided to go for it. I was blessed again to receive the opportunity to be a part of that first group of administrators, interns, and I was teaching, and I was able to get a second master's degree paid for. I had my curriculum and instruction master's degree, and then I worked on my educational administration, and that opened the door to becoming an intern. You're in the role of an administrative position like an assistant principal, but you're still interning. And my first internship was at Highland Park Elementary with Miss Jennifer Cross. And so I tell all of you this to say, there's always going to be opportunities out there, and you really are just going to have to go for it and try it. And not all doors will open. I remember the first time I applied for the internship position, I went in and they told me, we already have someone in mind, but we appreciate you coming and interviewing. And I learned a lot from that interview. And in that moment, I realized, if this is not for me, that is fine. There's always going to be something else. And y'all, a week later, I got a call to interview for 2 other positions. And I was able to get that third position, and I learned a lot. And that was a stepping stone into the position that I am today, which is assistant principal of Nash Elementary, which is a bilingual campus. But all along the way, there has been people who have supported me and encouraged me. Miss Ingram saw something in me and encouraged me to apply when I went over to Morris. And we've kept in touch, and she's been that opening link to other opportunities. So now, being in the role I am, I hope that I can be that for someone else. And the 3 things that I must say that will help you open those doors and see those opportunities is, first of all, knowing what education certificates you're going to need. So I know Ms. Lott had asked a question in the registration, what certifications would you most value hold moving forward into administration? So I value tremendously that I was able to get a master's in curriculum and instruction. I know the paradigm of a principal has shifted. Years ago, they looked at principals as managerial type of leaders. But honestly, we're instructional leaders, from the principal to the assistant principal. We deal a lot with actual instruction. knowing effective teaching strategies, parent and community involvement. So the more knowledge you have, the better of an instructional leader you can be and support those teachers. So getting a master's in curriculum and instruction was very, very valuable to me because I was able to understand the ultimate goal. We're there to help children be successful academically. And so understanding the academic side of it is very beneficial. And then, of course, if you have a master's in curriculum instruction, you don't necessarily have to have a master's in educational administration. You can now just apply for the certification of principalship. So that's something that I didn't realize back then, but since I had just finished my first master's, I was able to just add a few more classes and get a second master's degree. And you're right, Miss Ingram, we're always learning. I just sat in a Saturday symposium for the Texas Bilingual Association. There's always research is ever evolving. There's always something new to learn. Who knows? I might be back at school next semester. I am a lifelong learner. The second thing that I would encourage everyone to be and to do is be proactive. You're already ahead of the game, all of you attending here today, because you're telling us, all of us, yourselves, that you have an aspiration, a dream, a goal to be an administrator. You're here. That's huge. So you're already ahead of the game because early on, you already know that you see that in your future. As the leader of a campus, you always see those that have their purpose in mind and know where they want to go because they're go-getters. They're the people that are coming and saying, okay, what can we do? What can we help you with? How can we help you support that initiative? Or do you need help with that? Be that person. Support your leaders. Wherever you are, you have the opportunity to lead. You don't have to be a principal to lead. You can be a leader as a student, as a teacher, a community member, anyway. But be proactive, know your purpose, and really put yourself out there. Volunteer to help for different initiatives. I have the pleasure of working with a phenomenal principal, Patty O'Bannon. Elodia and I have both had the privilege of working with her for 6 years. And let me tell you, she is the prime example of someone who supports and inspires people who have a desire to lead. I've seen several teachers, and Elodia is one of them, is an example, who she has supported. But another teacher that I have in mind had always had the desire to lead in instructional technology. She gave her the opportunity to present at different staff developments, encouraged her to participate in other technology events. And now that teacher, sometimes it means that they have to go. But that particular teacher that I'm talking about is now a technology coordinator for another district. And that's just a prime example that wherever you are going to have those people that are going to support you in your journey, in your purpose. So don't be afraid to put yourselves out there, to volunteer your efforts, your talents, because all of you do have unique talents. And together with the leadership team, with your school, wherever you are, you can help the bigger objective of the campus or wherever you are. And then lastly, have a servant heart. Really and truly, we're in it to help others, to help each other. You can do anything you want to advance for yourself, but I feel like people advance naturally when they're doing things to help each other. We are a team. We are a district. We are a community. I love the philosophy of getting all of you educational leaders together because together we can do more and we can encourage and inspire everyone. And having that servant heart, I've seen it from many of our past superintendents, people, our leaders, people in the community. So we can do that too. really and truly, what can we do to help each other? I appreciate your time. I know that a lot of you, this is your Saturday, your time to wind down, but you're already here. Another question that someone had posed was dealing with the challenges as an administrator during COVID. So if you're in the school, you know um, some of the measures that we administrators are having to take. The most challenging ones right now is the fact that the disease is spreading and there are shortages of substitutes. So if you or anyone you know is willing to be a sub for any district, we need subs. And that I know we shared it out on the TISDPR page, and I'm sure all districts are hurting for subs because when you look at the numbers of people that are being affected, whether it be getting sick or their family members getting sick. So that is something that that's one of the major challenges right now dealing with COVID. Children are resilient. They have picked up on all the safety measures. They do a phenomenal job of wearing their buffs, of wearing their mask. They've adjusted to social distancing at lunch. They've adjusted so well to the way we do recess now. You know, every class has its own section on the playground, and they rotate among those sections. They know that it's just become second nature. When you leave the classroom, hand sanitizer. When you come in the classroom, hand sanitizer. um, it Kids are resilient. Kids are doing a great job. They love coming to school. Teachers love being at school. It is more challenging, definitely more challenging, especially dealing with virtual instruction. And that's something that, we're learning. It's still a work in progress, but those are the main challenges that we are facing right now in education with the COVID-19 pandemic. So if I leave you with anything is be encouraged. Know that you have been proactive in the sense of already knowing that you want to be an administrator. Remember, education is key. The more you learn, the more you know. That's one of my favorite Dr. Seuss quotes. And I'm going to leave you with this leadership quote that we shared at our school. But leadership is about the decisions you make and the actions that you take each day. The world is waiting. Leadership is a choice, and it starts with you. So thank you all for a wonderful time. I've enjoyed so much, and I'm looking forward to everybody else's speaker. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask in the comment box. But know that you are a leader already in itself, and keep pushing forward and have that servant heart.
So proud and so thankful, Liliana, for you sharing those words of encouragement and true words of wisdom coming from someone who is, so to speak, on the front lines right now as an administrator, and one with a great heart for kids and a heart for leadership and encouraging people. So we thank you so much for that. And stick around. We have more great leaders and speakers coming.